Disability pride to me is the ability for me to be able to live the life I desire and for my goals and dreams for me to aspire to.
Disability pride has to do a lot with being part of a larger community of people with disabilities. It's not merely sort of a pride in yourself, but a pride in your community.
So disability pride is me being proud of who I am, which is a highly political thing in this day and age and just political surroundings. To say you're disabled and proud, people don't really understand what that means. People think it means that you're okay with yourself, and yes, that's part of it, but it also means, like, not only am I okay about who I am, I'm also connected to a community. I'm also connected and all about creating a space where I can just be myself without barriers in society.
Disability pride in my daughter's life has meant to me has been watching her discover and develop a respect and an acceptance and a sense of being proud of not proud of how she's different from people, but proud because she's different from people. It's easy for, like, in this world, for people to marginalize what we have done as a society, as marginalized and oppressed people with differences, because we would rather not see people with differences, and people with physical disabilities especially make people who don't have physical disabilities uncomfortable. So
having a good sense of who you are, of your disability, and feeling comfortable with that, and having a good sense of your community, and feeling kind of a oneness with other people in the disability community, and understanding the disability culture and history.
So disability pride for me is really, correcting society about disability, because society looks at disability as something negative and something that to overcome. Like I can overcome my race, it's impossible. So I, and Sins and Valley and Hip Hop and a lot of other cool organizations and art organizations are trying to flip that and say there's disability pride that's out there, knowing your history, knowing that we have arts, that we make music. It's not all about thinking about disability, but if a musician with a disability has a song, I think that's disabled pride, because he or she has a disability and he's doing his artwork, so that's pride right there. So that's disability pride for me.
It's sort of a way of life, right? It's a way of carrying yourself and a way of rejecting stigma.
And it's just me being able to identify as a person with a disability without feeling the shame and guilt that I may not fit mainstream society.
So for me, it's really played a big role in getting really comfortable with myself. Besides just being Latina, besides just being a woman, it's really helped me be comfortable with being disabled, and then also incorporate that into my identity and be able to deliver that and share that and be proud of that with other people, and then use that pride for power.
What's important about pride and why one ought to have it has a lot to do with empowerment, because I think that one of the most fundamental ways in which our society maintains a system of oppression or of political domination of people with disabilities has a lot to do with pity. Because pity has everything to do with having low expectations for people with disabilities, and it has everything to do with not seeing people with disabilities as being capable of running their own lives. That's sort of what is essential to the notion of pity to me. And so pride, or disability pride, is a response to that. It's a community's response to that, and the rejection of that notion of pity.
It's important for people with disabilities to be exposed to disability pride, because it's important for every person to embrace all the parts of themselves and their identities. And I think if you aren't proud of who you are, it's going to be hard to present yourself to other people the way you want them to see you. And instead, they'll see you the way they want to, and you'll feel rejected and invisible.
It's important for people to be exposed to disability pride because we receive so many other messages that tell us that we're not worth as much, we're less than, we're not good enough, we need to be cured. And with all those other messages, that affects who you are inside once you internalize that. So it's important to have disability pride because it helps you combat all of those negative messages that you occur on a daily basis just by being part of this world.
Why I think it's important for people with disabilities or kids with disabilities to be exposed to disability pride is for the very reason that encourages them not to deny their disability and not to be invisible like our society would prefer. As a society, we really have a difficult time with oppressed people or marginalized people being proud about that and being proud of who they are and refusing to be marginalized or silenced.
Because it's life itself. It's like people I know who haven't found disability pride aren't living. They are so trapped in and stuck and afraid and ashamed and scared of who they are, and having people realize who they are. You know, like somehow if they hide it just enough, then it'll go away. And you can never have your disability it doesn't ever go away. You know, even if like for some reason there was magic pills and people decide to become cured, you still have this experience of disability. You still have the experience of knowing what it's like to be to face barriers.
And it's really encompassed in a social justice kind of framework where, you know, we don't only look at disability issues, but we look at issues like poverty that includes disabled people, that includes non-disabled people. You know, we look at issues like, you know, the prison industrial system that includes disabled people, so it goes beyond identity politics and really looks at society and how society is ran, and disabled people is a part of that.
And like